Okay, history of child abuse and self-harm, content warning, so do not read if those are triggering topics to you. Hello. I'm a 20-year-old autistic transfemme, they-them pronouns, studying at a small liberal arts university in Los Angeles. My brother lives in Los Angeles.
LA is hot. Fucking love LA.
I watched your segment, Dating with Asperger's, and while it's good advice that I tried to follow already, I'm not sure if I can use it.
Thank you so much for watching that, though.
Yeah.
We'll link it in the show notes.
I do go out to try and meet women, maybe receive phone numbers, and I lost my fear of rejection years ago, but I find it really hard to get anything to come from it. I was diagnosed young, was bullied by professionals for much of my childhood, and as a result I isolated myself in high school to such an extent that I graduated barely socialised and never having had any romantic interaction. As much as I want it, I can't think about sex or romance without having an out-of-body experience, and I think that's making it really difficult for me to find this sort of connection. In addition to potentially indicating an interruption in my neurodevelopment, what advice would you... in addition to potentially indicating an interruption in my neurodevelopment. What advice would you give to someone in my situation? Thank you for your help. A note on language. I and most other autistic people in the Anglophone world use identity-first language, such as autistic person as opposed to person with autism. Qualifiers like high and low functioning, Asperger syndrome, and levels are now considered outdated and inaccurate. Thank you for that. And apologies if we used incorrect language in the last segment.
But dare I say, like, I will say, like, I know autistic people, and so they use it as that, and I would never, for instance, like be like, come up to them and be like, hey, that's actually like outdated language.
And also the person who asked us the question did use the word Asperger, so we used it because of that.
Yes, but, and so I don't know, like something to be said, like, and the way that sounded to me just then, and like, I hate to do this, but I'm doing this now. Fuck it. Like, that's not everyone, like, that's not necessarily like agreed terminology. Like, it's probably the fairly modern terminology that hopefully will catch up with and stuff. But like, if people that I know that do have them the diagnosis or whatever, like call themselves in a particular way, I would be called dead. To be like, hey, actually, I don't know if you heard, but like, this is actually how you meant to call yourself now. So like, I will continue saying, like, I know person with Asperger's, because I know people with Asperger's that just say like, hey, I'm an Asperger.
Well, this is what's also interesting is that so I work in homelessness, and they were actually arguing at this conference I was at very recently to use the phrase person experiencing homelessness rather than the phrase homeless person, because they didn't want to be identified by that.
Interesting.
And so I thought and I might be wrong, and I defer to people who have autism to like
autistic people,
well, however they self-identify to question
exactly.
it. But I thought the idea was more to make it seem like your identity was not all encompassed by having autism. And again, I don't know whether that's just a different thing altogether, but it's just interesting, and I don't feel like there's one opinion on this. But thank you very much for your insights, and we're always happy to like hear those and to try and keep our language as up to date and inclusive as possible.
Of course. But it's not end all be all, is what I'm saying. These things are constantly revolving, but I will listen, I guess, more to people close to me and how they identify, rather than kind of explain to them how they should be identifying.
I would never be seen dead,
Yeah, that's I guess what I'm
But in general, for your question, we'll try and use the phrases that you've asked us to, of course.
So
do you want to start? You have notes?
Yeah,
I feel a bit lost now.
No, this is the only bit I have notes on as such. Like, I just want you to... I am so desperate for you to basically feel sexy about yourself, because it sounds to me like you're right now, you're kind of trying to get experiences, or, like, and you said yourself that whenever you think about those issues, you feel like they're out of body experiences, like, or not an issue, like whenever you think about romantic encounters and or sexual developments of any sort, that you think that it's something that's not necessarily happening to you. And I just wonder if there's a way, especially, I mean, I don't know how much privacy you have right now, and maybe you've tried this as well, but like, I don't know, like the way that, especially now, like being stuck in a room and that, like, look, mostly, this is me dressed up. Most of the time I'm like, girls, we're pretty much not washing our hair because we're trying to keep it greasy to get rid of the grease, another story. But we're like, girls, like, I have so much makeup on now, I have spots everywhere, we feel gross. And every evening, I just have to take some time for myself, like maybe cover myself in lotions, kind of check myself out in the mirror, put like some Jeremiah "fuck you all the time" song, and just feel sexual just about myself.
Yeah, every morning I masturbate to start my day. Like,
no, but like not everyone, I guess, like sort of feels.
Certainly, yeah.
But what I guess I'm trying to
Whoa.
say, it's just like I wonder if there's a way for you to bit by bit just beginning to develop a feeling of sexuality together with your own body, you know, because it seems like definitely you're just like your sexual desires are not fitting what your body is right now, and also like to even artificially attempt and create that environment, you know.
Yeah, because the out-of-body experience also suggests that it's not happening to you, and I'm wondering whether that's like also like watching porn or whatever. You might not necessarily like identify with the people in it because it's not your experience, and particularly if you've not had sexual experiences of your own. Like, you can't think about those when you're like trying to feel sexy. So I also understand that might be a product of like a lack of experience in a sense. But like, yeah, you can feel sexual on your own terms.
Yeah, on your own terms. You just put
effort into it, and you will feel silly at first because
like, it's performative, you know.
It's performative,
and it's also like stereotypical stereotypical feeling sexy, right? Like it's not. It is a sort of reactionary way of feeling sexy.
But also, one of the things I'm wondering is that you say, like, okay, so you lost your fear of rejection, amazing, I wish I could, and all those other things, and you're not getting anything from it, like, possibly you're also asexual? Is just something to raise there? Because if you're, like, genuinely not getting anything from, like, sexual experiences, that's also, like, an understandable thing, and there are, like, communities and, like, support around that. So that also might be something to consider, and it's perfectly normal, and, like, a lot of people don't have any relationship with sexuality in that way. So like I'm not speaking from an expert perspective, I'm not asexual, but I am a listener in several communities where people do talk about those things, and that could also be where you're at. And that also does not mean, by the way, that you can't form romantic or intimate relationships with people. You perfectly can, and like there are ways and groups for like that kind of thing. So I'm just putting that out there as an option.
Definitely. Rowan, I'm gonna say this is distracting me too much. All of this, like the sound, the children, the other sound, the wind. I can't focus on where I want to be, which is with these people and their answers. So I don't feel like I'm doing the best job.
You want to go inside?
So I'm gonna have to ask to move. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so sorry about this. It's just like
sure, no problem.
literally, like I know how to explain this. We're in this like wind tunnel, and there are the children, and there's the.
Let's just go in the living room.
Usually it's fine and stuff, but like it's just too much, and like I want to do this well, and especially since they're like really sensitive questions, and I just feel like all over the shop. So we're gonna now cut and continue also with this particular question, like in a moment. Right, hi, hello. Sorry we had to move. I was hearing a voice of my mom in my head about the fact that like I know I'm in a wind tunnel, I'm gonna get a cold, and then there were the children, then there was the drilling, and there was the wind, and everything was moving. I literally couldn't hear my thoughts, and these are really important questions, and so I just felt like I'm not doing a good job here, and I'd rather do a good job. So, you know, even drinking and everything, but you know, we want to be chill, and I just like I didn't feel like I was
always do
chill.
a good job when I'm drinking.
Yeah. No, but like you know, like as in there needs to be a casualness to this, right?
Yeah,
and I didn't feel casual. I felt tensed up because of the environment, and I feel like this is gonna be better.
Yeah, good.
Yes, and I love the lights. Sorry, there was the choice of putting the curtain and, you know, kind of making it like that the light doesn't hit us, but I think that's really beautiful. So we're doing that.
And you get to see more of our lovely home.
Yes, and I also want to a little bit continue with the question. I think.
Yeah. Do you have more thought? Do you want? Yeah. Should I read it again, or you just want to skim it with your eyes?
I'm just gonna skim it with the eyes.
Is that the right one? I don't know.
Again, thank you so much for like opening up about such traumatic experiences. Where you're like, I cannot imagine, all right, like you already. You're already struggling on that, and then even professionals like bully you. I don't know whether that was psychologists that were doing that to you or whatever. Like I'm amazed that you're even as articulate and together as you are. This is so impressive, and you're so amazing.
And your language clearly shows that you have really good politics.
Absolutely.
Which is like putting me to shame a little bit, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So thank you. So again, it's. What advice would you give to somebody in my situation? It's this tricky, right? Because you are in a you're in a particular situation, and you can only relate to it from our own perspectives. But definitely, I don't think either of us can get to a place where we feel, where we can engage in romantic or sexual relationships, if we don't ourselves identify in some sort of ourselves in
As sexy.
as sexy as such. And sometimes, and it doesn't necessarily have to be beautiful. I liked someone tweeted the other day actually, just saying like how difficult again it is right now to even have like kind of long distance encounters, because most important thing is like smell, and it doesn't mean like beautiful smell of some sort of like perfume or anything like that. It literally means like spit and cum and all of those things, because to me like they're like so massively important. So even although we're gonna give you perhaps tips of how you make yourself like cute and lotions and everything is so pretty and everything, like no, sometimes you need just that like raw dirtiness that comes with sexual encounters. And right now even more than ever it's so difficult to achieve. But if there is for instance, you can even just identify 3 things that you like about the way that you look or the way that you are about yourself. I know to me that's probably like eyebrows, ears, and fuck it, I'll say the boobs, fine. And so I try and nurture those and think about those like way more than anything else. I love my ears. I love my ears.
But how do you nurture your ears? Do you like cream your ears?
I make sure that people, I don't know, I guess like touch them, and also like I touch them myself if I'm like in a hot.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's definitely a thing. Ears to me is like such a, and recently discovered soles of the feet. Huge erogenous zone.
The whole sole, or
I've been basically, so in the evening, I say I lotion myself. I basically lotion up the bottom of my soles.
I've been lotioning my feet recently, but I thought they were just dry because of the change of seasons. But I've been also rubbing lotion into my feet a lot.
But in the feet here, or in the feet like the bottoms?
The bottoms of the feet. I put it on my hands and then I rub it into my feet.
Same.
But it's not like sexy to me. I've never tried to make it sexy.
Well,
though.
maybe then I sleep with socks usually, so I put the socks on and then it kind of stays and stuff, and
yeah, I sleep with socks when it's cold, but not.
Usually I do.
I can't because my feet get too dry again.
So again, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like somehow be in a stereotypical pouty position in front of the mirror, make yourself feel sexy in those sort of ways. No, there are certain literal just zones within us that will turn us up.
But the other thing I'm wondering from your question, aside from the self-love, is that like you said you receive phone numbers, you said that you've chatted people up. You haven't said that you've gone further with that. You say that you lack a kind of ability to do so because of the out-of-body thing or the feeling like it's not real for you. But I'm wondering what your experiences have been. Like, have you had sexual experiences? Have you not? And like, if they've been inadequate, that also could just be because most hookups are inadequate.
Yes.
And like
at 20 as well. At 20, the sex I was having at 20 years old was horrible.
Awful.
Horrible.
So I also think age is a thing. Like, give yourself a bit of time to. And that sounds super condescending, but like we have one question about from a 40-year-old virgin, so it is like
30-year-old, and we're gonna put that in the show notes. Like 20 babes, like you're so young. And also, I'm just gonna say like. Then I met someone at 20 that actually was making me come in all sorts of amazing ways. So this is not to make them feel. Basically, I just want to say that if you're watching, this is not a cuss at you, because when I met you, you were amazing, and you know who you are.
But it's the idea that like at 20 you still have a lot of sexual growing to do. Like I probably wasn't the best in bed at 20 compared to how I am now. Like for sure.
Definitely.
And like maybe you're just not like. You haven't said about any of the people you've said you've got their phone numbers on. You said you haven't said that you were interested in any of them, that you were like excited by them. And I don't just mean sexually excited, but like also getting to know someone. Like we've had questions similar to yours in the context of like a partner before. Like I just can't feel like I really like this person, but I can't feel this. But like I'm wondering whether you're also cutting off your nose a bit before your face gets a chance to be spited, if you know what I mean. Like so you've got the phone numbers, but you haven't bothered pursuing them because you're not interested yet. Well, of course not. Like most people at a bar are boring until you go on 3 dates and you get to know what's interesting about them. Like
and feel that intimacy with them. Yeah.
Have you given people a chance to actually get to know you, and have you been interested enough to get to know them? Like it's great that you've got over the first hurdle of asking for a phone number. A lot of people haven't even done that. But the next hurdle, you sometimes have to force yourself into it, and like the first date is often boring and shit and weird because everyone's just like, oh, I do this, but it's like.
Something to be said about you being seduced by them as well. It's not necessarily all the onus is on you now, right? So if they're not seducing you, then they're not the ones for you to even be sexy for, Yeah,
exactly. Like there's a lot of variables here, and it's not clear to me which ones are the ones that we should be focusing on.
And now I'm going to be purely judgmental. I've only been in America once this autumn. I had a really amazing time. For 5 days, I was in LA. And LA, it is just a really vacuous place. Like, it just is.
It's a very judgmental place as well.
It's a very judgmental place. A lot of, so many expectations about your success, about, where you come from, like, in terms of, like, well, yeah, exactly that, and also, like, your politics as well. Especially, I imagine, in your sort of, like, liberal arts milieu in Los Angeles, like, in a small artsy uni in Los Angeles, right? Like, I mean, there'll be so much pressure put into be like a very, very particular way. So,
and there's so many people that are probably cunts. Like,
I mean, that's everywhere, but like,
LA a liberal arts college in LA. I wouldn't be able to find anyone I wanted to fuck, probably.
No, I'd struggle too. But so move to London, basically.
But the point is, like, if you don't find anyone you find sexy, then maybe the people out there aren't that good. Or maybe, like I said earlier, like, you might be asexual, and that's totally fine as well, but that doesn't mean you can't form intimate connections.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, love yourself. Don't assume that just because you got someone's number, that means you're meant to fancy them, because no.
Yes, the jump is on them. And honestly, and also, like, you're 20, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. I know that life after 30 is gonna be where I'm gonna actually peak and I'll be fucking fantastic.
Is it?
20s are long. Yeah.
20s are long. I feel like I've been in my 20s forever.
Yeah, it's just long.
And I'm only 26, and I feel like I'm 29. I'm, like, done with my 20s.
I'm getting on 29, like, in 2 months' time, and, yeah, 20's not, like, I feel mature enough to be hitting the 30s, yeah.
You ready for the 30s?
Yeah, I actually wish it was 30 this year. 29 is just the shittiest age.
Should we do, like, a 30th birthday party for you?
What do you think? I'm gonna have 30 at, like, this year.
Yeah, this year. Like,
maybe I should just get it
birthday for you last year.
We did. Maybe I should just get it over with. Become 30 2 times around. Yeah. Especially since on my, like, fake date of birth, I usually put 1990. Just because,
Are you 1991?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Anyways, thank you again for writing in, and apologies that if we didn't necessarily touch in more on the neurodivergent side of things, just because we feel like, I suppose, like, however much advice we can give from secondary sources, I think we've crammed into the original question that you've put in there.
And there was another one we also answered about a similar situation, I think, as well.
Yes.
So, again, like, you can tell already that we're not experts on this.
Yes.
We are just working off our friends who we know in these situations. So,
and off of the information that you've given us.
Yeah, like, but if you have any, like, follow-up questions or something more specific, maybe about, like, what your dating experiences have been or about how you feel about them, like, please do send us another question. We're always happy to do follow-ups. And the more information we're given, the better.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oof.
Is that me?
Yes, you.
Oh, God damn it.
No, not you. It's a long one. So
also, just to also confirm, I was giggling whilst Rowan was reading out the question because of the drilling. I realized I was giggling. It was nothing to do with anything you said.
Whenever we're laughing, it's not about the questions.
No, it's about the. It's either our own memories or circumstances around and everything.
Yeah, often my own memories. That's true.
Yeah, sometimes just like, oh my God, so been there. Oh my God.